Hey, everybody, it's your friend Adam. I'm here to talk about this excellent debate that happened with Richard Wolff and Destiny. But I can't watch the actual debate because I think Sitch and I are going to cover it on the Sunday show just because there's so much juiciness in there, so much greatness. I did a video making fun of Richard Wolff. Richard Wolff had called out Jordan Peterson and asked Jordan Peterson to do a debate. It's pretty crazy that Richard Wolff had asked Jordan Peterson to do a debate when he couldn't even debate Destiny. He couldn't even debate Destiny. Yet he's going to go up against Jordan Peterson. Oh my God. Oh my God. What a crazy person. What a crazy person to think, oh my God, I'm going to take on Jordan Peterson. But no, that's not going to happen. So I did a video when he did his debate response, and I used Jordan Peterson clips and I used some Brett Weinstein clips. Maybe I'll watch that video too. The video, I think it's up to like 1.2 million views, which is actually really cool. And I pretty much I felt like this would be the direction that the debate would go, but I found this totally mouth-watering clip of Richard Wolff, tantalizing clip of Richard Wolff, basically just talking about worker co-ops and how you would organize a restaurant that was a workers co-op, and it was just ridiculous. I mean, it made him seem like a total moron. I did that video maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I mean, Richard Wolff has proved himself to be a complete and utter moron, and he's such a moron in that debate with Destiny. He won't even define his terms. It's pretty crazy. Never drink coffee when you're live streaming. I think I'm only going to live stream for maybe an hour and a half. I don't want to step on the Jack show. This I've kind of carved out this time slot, and Deadwood Dale has moved on. Deadwood Dale is now streaming. I don't know if he's streaming right now. He might be, but he's rebranded. I think he's Agent of Chaos now, which I kind of like. It's out there. And Patrick didn't respond to me last week on streaming. So I don't know if he's interested in streaming, but I'm going to keep this I'm going to keep this spot. I'm going to keep live streaming. I'm going to try to do 6 to 8. I know I've been mentioning it on the Sunday stream, and other people have reached out to me about arguing with me. Mr. Ubercross sent me a very nice DM earlier today and said, "Are you okay? You're not streaming." So evidently some people have evidently remembered the time slot. So what's the Jack Show? The Jack Show is a Comicsgate thing. There's 4 Fandom Menace Comicsgate people that do a show. It's John Malin, Anna, that Star Wars girl, Cecil is the C, and then Kelsey Shannon is the K. So they do a show from 8 my time, 8 to whenever. So, and I originally started doing this time slot before the Jack Show just to kind of coattail ride them a bit on the Comicsgate thing. But yeah, the show's kind of evolved into something different. I don't even know that my fans are really, I don't know that I have a lot of like overlap with Comicsgate fans. So obviously, if you're asking me, what's the Jack Show? No Sitch? No, Sitch. No, Sitch. Sitch is his own man. But Sitch, if Sitch shows up in the chat, I'll definitely invite him on. And we've done a couple live streams. People are still coming at me on the MMT thing, which I mean, I'm in this really weird position where I don't believe you can change people's minds. So I really don't even try to change people's minds. I brought up my Twitter because there were some interesting exchanges going on with the MMT thing. I've been watching the Mises economics guys. Well, I guess I'm on the wrong thing here. Here we go. Right window helps. So I've been arguing with the Mises. I've been watching some videos. I'm just trying to get my head around where the Mises economic guys are coming from. They seem to just be into deflation. So I responded on one of their videos, and a million of them jumped at me. Here's the video I think we're going to watch. I hope the left finally realizes that Richard Wolff is a moron. Yeah, they idolize this guy, and this guy is such an idiot. I can't believe, like, Destiny just in the debate was just asking him, I just want you to define your terms. Richard Wolff is saying, there's 25 different types of socialists, and Destiny's like, well, what kind of socialist are you? What is your brand of socialism? And he won't define any terms, because he's talking about socialism as if it's some kind of religion, like it's some rich tradition. And, there's all these different sects of socialist, and, you can't, they're all good, good parts of socialism. So we don't want to do them. We don't want to do any of those people dirty and leave them out. We have to include them all. It's like, aren't we talking about factual reality? Aren't we talking about like an economic theory here? Can't we define some terms? So, but I also had some interaction on with Nuance Bro, which was interesting on MMT. Nuance Bro saw that I had tweeted this out. So this tweet here, I found this this popped up, and Twitter must know that I'm interested in MMT, so they're throwing MMT related tweets at me. I think because I follow Stephanie Kelton and I follow Warren Mosler. I follow some other MMT people, but this video came up. I guess I could just play it because it's kind of super cringy. Here, I'll just play it.
What if the government has spent too much money?
What do you mean too much money?
We've spent more than we can pay back.
That's not how it works. We don't have to pay that money back.
What?
When you and I spend money we don't have, we have to pay it back. We take on debt. But the government creates the money.
What?
Think about a scorekeeper at a basketball game.
I so cringed when she started using my analogy. Think about a scorekeeper at a basketball game. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the last time I use that analogy. That analogy is dead. What's up, Mr. Ubercross? I told you I was going to stream. I'm a little late, but I am streaming, so.
They don't have to go around with a bucket and collect points from all of the players in order to put them on the scoreboard. They just conjure them into existence. Similarly, the federal government creates dollars when they need to spend them.
So they've been lying to us?
Yeah.
So we can have nice things?
We can have nice things.
That part just really triggered me. So we can have nice things? We can have nice things? The problem is, if you want to use the scorekeeper analogy, is they basically want to say that the person that finds the cure for cancer and the person that does Shakespeare in the Park, basically, those are both the equivalents of a 3-point shot, when that's really not how it works. I mean, you got to add real productivity to the economy in order for the equation to balance. So while I do buy into the MMT lens, this is sadly missing a huge portion of that. And I tweeted this out and said, this is how MMT is going to get stuck in the same partisan ditch the climate change debate has been mired in for the last 20 years. MMT recognizes that the limiting factor for spending is inflation, as I stated when I did my live stream with AA, and AA agreed. Inflation is the thing that we're worried about. Due to real resource constraints, something lefties conveniently leave out, which is just terrible. But the funny thing is that so Nuance Bro, who I love Nuance Bro to death. We go back and forth on Twitter, but it's all in good fun. Nuance Bro retweeted her saying something to the effect of, this is garbage. But Nuance Bro hates MMT, but I'm not convinced that Nuance Bro has a nuanced take on MMT. I'm not convinced that he even really understands it. So people are goading me to have a conversation with Nuance Bro, and I'm totally down to have a conversation. I think these conversations are fascinating. So this tweet kind of blew up here. Yeah, I guess I'm just an anti-commie. The communist obsession, and I tweeted this out when Destiny was having the debate with Richard Wolff. The commie obsession with worker co-ops is laughable. 40% of eligible Americans don't vote in presidential elections. What makes you think they want to vote for anything at work? Which is, I mean, that's the hilarious thing. There are people in the world who want responsibility, and there are people in the world who run from responsibility. And most of those people who don't want extra responsibility, you know, they get a dumb job. I have had many friends in my life, living in Southern California and growing up in California, that, you know, their whole goal in life was just to get a dumb job and surf all day. Like, get a dumb job, surf on the weekends. Like, that's all they cared about. They didn't want to work at a workers' co-op where they had a say in how the business was run. You know, they wanted to show up for their 8 hours, get their paycheck, and go surfing on the weekends. So this whole thing that the commies are offering with the worker co-ops, it's so crazy to me. I'm trying to wrap my mind around understanding it, because I mean, is it, like in Vosh's community, is it a big deal to, I mean, is this something people really desire? Like, everyone wants to make more money at work. I want to make more money at work. Everyone wants to make more money at work. That makes sense to me. But this whole idea that I want more power at work, I mean, generally, when you get more power at work, or generally when you get more money at work, it comes with more responsibilities. Everyone wants the power. Nobody wants the responsibilities. As soon as you like wake up and realize that, oh, power, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with power. People are like, I'm not, I'm not a huge fan of that. Not really a huge fan of that responsibility part. We should this video is pretty amazing here. Here's Sitch calling me out a bit. Okay, I'm just going through my Twitter now. Let me go back to this video, because this video is pretty good here. All right, it opened up in a new window here. I'll read a couple super chats too. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, if you guys want to argue with me about anything in particular, I think I'm like in full debate bro mode these days. I don't know. I mean, John Smith wants to go at me still with kids voting, but I mean, there's a video we could watch about the kids voting thing. Like, it's all related to Selectorate Theory. I think the communist stuff, like, there are 3 or 4 super big ideas that really influence my thinking, and none of them have to do with Austrian economics or the Mises group. I think a lot of these communities are just really driven by their moral intuitions. They're driven by what they hate, and their brain is pretty much just completely fixated on that thing that they hate. But the big ones here, let me write them down, because the big ones are evolution. Obviously, evolution's the one that you got to understand like immediately. But a close second for human interaction is moral foundations theory, the Jonathan Haidt stuff. So if you learn these things in this order, like, you're going to be better equipped to face the world, and you're going to understand. You're going to be able to understand things much clearer. So moral foundations theory, and then selectorate theory. Like, if you want to understand politics, you really have to understand selectorate theory. And selectorate theory is from the Dictator's Handbook. Selectorate theory, they basically, and it's funny because people talk about Machiavelli all the time. They say, like, oh, that's so Machiavellian, and a lot of people don't like Machiavellian politics is considered an insult. But in the Dictator's Handbook, they kind of explain how Machiavelli got it right, how he's the one that had the best understanding of moral psychology and politics out of anyone. And they actually use modern scientific data collection to prove Machiavelli right. So that's kind of a black pill with things like democracy. You understand, like, I'm dealing with these MMT people, and everything goes back to selectorate theory, because I'm watching some of these like lefty total cringe videos where they're, talking to one another. It's so like they're completely virtue signaling to one another in this hierarchical structure, and everything they're saying is turning off the people that they need to basically sway to their position if they want to actually win elections or get any of their policies passed. So they're really just off in the weeds. They don't really know what it takes to get their policies passed. They do understand and respect the MMT stuff, but they don't understand and respect the moral psychology or the selectorate theory. And selectorate theory is basically telling you that, you know, we in democracies, we kind of have this power sharing situation where, you know, right now the Democrats are in control, so they're the ones that are passing all of their policies that they want. I mean, it's so funny that the Democrats' policies really, I mean, they don't touch on money or economics in any way, shape, or form. They're like, we're going to virtue signal about critical race theory. You know, we're going to do some bill that honors people's pronouns. Like, that's not tangible. Trump was trying to build a fucking wall. Okay. You need money to build a wall. You need money to build a military. You need money to do these things. And I don't, you know, Democrats don't know how the money part of the equation works. Even Obamacare. I mean, Obama kind of totally screwed up on Obamacare. So even there, where it's something that does tangibly affect people's pocketbooks, they still got it wrong. They still completely got it wrong. So, but anyway, selectorate theory basically says that politicians are really only interested in rewarding their voters, their constituencies with tangible goods. Like Trump was interested in building a wall because his voters wanted a wall built and he wanted to get reelected. So therefore, ergo procto, exo facto, he's trying to build a wall so he can get reelected. Joe Biden is fortunately just virtue signaling about critical race theory so he can get reelected. Probably work. It's so much easier for, oh my God, think about that. Biden can get reelected just by virtue signaling about pronouns and critical race theory. And Trump has to literally build a wall to get reelected. That's some crazy shit. I missed a bunch of super chats last time I streamed, and I still feel bad about it to this day. So hopefully I got a better link now, so I think I can actually get the super chats. I might be able to back up here. You guys, I think, have thrown some questions at me. So wait a second here. Hi, Aaron Getterix. Gemini Samimi for $2 says, "Dang it, Adam! I was going to bed. I still love you." Well, Gemini, these things are recorded, so save the link in case I set it to unlisted. So sometimes, you know, sometimes I get on a roll and I don't want to set it to unlisted because I drop some wisdom. But sometimes I just ramble about nonsense. So, but it's good to see you here. The Butter Anvil for $10. God, you guys are so good to me. I wish I could bring it up on screen here. Let me bring this down. The Butter Anvil for $10 says potential pothole. Oh my God, no way. Potential plot hole in Social Justice Detective. Really? A striker calls the girlfriend to come transition her boyfriend, but then shoots him before she arrives. Other than that, 10 out of 10. Fave video on YouTube. Wins that makeup stream. Hi, Rags. Okay. You want me to do a makeup stream? I go full James Charles on you guys? I don't know if I can do it. I wasn't even going to play. People were telling me to play the girl characters in Social Justice Detective, but I wasn't going to do it. So, okay, here I have addressed the plot hole. Others have come to me with this plot hole. And Mr. Anvil. And what you don't see, what happens off camera, is I shoot, but I don't shoot. I shoot over his shoulder. I'm trying to intimidate him. I'm trying to scare him. I'm trying to scare him. There's that, or I do put him out of his misery because who wants that crazy girlfriend coming to get you? So for those of you who haven't watched Social Justice Detective, you can check it out. It's on my channel. Well, one of the first things I did, I spent like a month making that thing, and the YouTube algorithm totally fucked me. I think because I say Nazi like a bunch of times in there, and obviously I'm just doing YouTube for fun. So So I don't try to hold back on saying naughty words and stuff like that. I wanted to be cool. So I might do a second one someday. Who knows? Now I am, man, sun up to sundown working on the comic, and it is a lot of fucking work, man. These guys are working their asses off, and I'm starting to see that firsthand as I'm working my ass off on doing the comic. But we're progressively going up and up. Let's see. Let's actually see. Let me take a look at what we're at here. To $46,370, 816 backers. I actually think, I have high hopes that we could actually hit six figures if we have better artwork. I think more pages of better artwork. We're working on stuff. CT has done some coloring for me that looks pretty amazing. So I think she might actually be a better colorist than me. I did all the stuff on our original campaign, mostly just out of being conservative. Like I want to be able to do everything myself in case I'm in a situation where I have to do everything myself. So Ivar and Getterix for $5 says leftists laymen say words for leftist laymen say word for word the same argument as leftist intellectuals. That's why they rely on vagaries, tricks, and radical tactics. Destroyed. Yeah, you must be Ivar and Getterix. You must be referring to Richard Wolff, because and Destiny pointed this out again and again, that Richard Wolff didn't seem to understand any of the shit he was talking about. Like some other Marxist intellectual that he admired evidently, shoved his hand up his ass and worked his mouth like a puppet, because Richard Wolff is not a smart person. It's amazing to me. Well, I guess it makes a lot of sense, because the low tier, totally popular leftists on YouTube, David Dorn is one of them. The Rational National, I think he's called. That guy, dim, totally dim, not bright at all. Kyle Kalinske, not bright at all. I mean, David Pakman, I think, is definitely brighter. Yeah, David Pakman is probably the smartest of them all, but he's like, his clickbait game is you can tell he's smarter than normal. But Kyle Kalinske, man, he didn't even know the difference between Biden's healthcare plan and Bernie's healthcare plan. He didn't even know the difference between the public option and Medicare for all. He said the public option. He said Medicare for all was European style healthcare. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. European style healthcare is the public option. God, how is this guy, like, healthcare is his main issue? So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not dealing with the smartest. We're dealing with people. It's image. They craft an image that is believable, and people fall for it. Brian Bishop for $5 says, I love you, Adam. Night. Take care, Brian. I'll catch you on the next one. Cullivar. I wonder if I can get any of these up here. Let's see. Oh yeah, Brian Bishop right there. Take care, Brian. Cullivar for $10 says, poor naive Adam. Well, I like how this super chat's beginning right here. Poor naive Adam. I know. I am naive. I am. Well, I'm not naive. I don't believe you can change people's minds. What's going on here? All right, I'll do the whole super chat now. Ready? Cullivar for $10 says, poor naive Adam. It's about what I want you to have, not what you want to have. Just nod along with the commies. This all comes back to no faith in your fellow man. All of it. I do like the use of caps there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about faith in my fellow man. I have faith in the institutions that we've developed over time. One of Jordan Peterson's rules in his new book is great. It's like, don't needlessly denigrate institutions. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Like, maybe don't defund the police. Maybe don't Maybe don't do stupid shit. We're swimming in stupid shit right now. Twitter's a great window into people's stupidity. I love it for that. Sitch was genuinely angry, and I saw him tweeting. Man, he was tweeting up a storm. I was holding back on this whole Derek Chauvin trial conclusion, I guess, and also the shooting that happened on the heels of the Derek Chauvin trial, the one of the girl who was trying to stab the other girl, and the cop, basically a hero cop, saved her life. And everyone's going after the cop, which is, I mean, it's the same as the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. And some guy got fired too for contributing $25 to Kyle Rittenhouse's defense campaign. What the fuck happened to America? What happened to America? $25 to basically Kyle Rittenhouse is like a hero in my eyes. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't give a fuck. Like these people were obviously attacking him, and he defended himself perfectly within his legal right. What's going on with him is a show trial. I'm a little nervous now after the Derek Chauvin thing, because I mean, they obviously didn't have the goods to convict Derek Chauvin on two of the charges, but they did anyway. So, I mean, that's a whole different can of worms there. I mean, if Kyle Rittenhouse gets convicted, oh my God, will people be in the streets? I feel like they might. I feel like, oh man, that would be the real, complete, utter miscarriage of justice if that happened. The Butter Amble for $2 says, I love the rhino's mind, but Dick HNBK is so dry. What? But I don't know what you're saying there, the Butter Anvil. I'm skeptical that it's not. I'm skeptical that it's PG-13, but don't get me in trouble. Woodchuck 00 for $5 says, your MMT streams have helped prove that leftists who advocate for MMT aren't just ignorant of economics, but of MMT. Hilarious. Yes. Yeah. I would like, and I reached out, the guy who runs the MMT podcast, Christian Riley. I talked about him on the Sunday stream. He's actually a pretty funny guy. And I think he's an interesting character. I would like to talk to him, but I mean, he did one stream and I think I bookmarked it to take a look at it. And he comes out and he's just vicious about Donald Trump is a racist and fucking conservatives are racists and all this shit. And I was like, oh man, this is how MMT is going to be in the same boat as climate change. Like, you're going to have a bunch of far left activists who are interested in MMT, the moderate left, the people who actually decide elections, the people who got Joe Biden, the walking corpse, elected. They're going to shun MMT because of this shit. Because of, it's just that these people are toxic. The toxic people come in first and screw everything up. Oh my God, I should have eaten before this. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'll make it an hour. I don't know if I'm going to make it 2 hours. Let's see. I'm glad, and I mean, I'm torn on the MMT stuff. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. Sitch is kind of fascinated by it too, because I see him going at it on Twitter with certain people. I mean, you just can't deny the truth, and so many people are just denying the truth. On both sides. Both sides are denying the truth, which is always bad news. Aaron Gadders for $5 says, if conservatives use all the moral foundations, whereas others focus on one or two, does that give them a kind of monopoly on nuance? Why, yes, it does. It totally does. And this is one of the things that bugs the shit out of lefties. And this is, lefties ignore moral foundations theory at their own expense. Because of that, they freak out. They're so easily triggered. They see the two verses. I mean, and it's so important. Jonathan Haidt made it one of the, there's 3 rules of moral psychology. The first is intuitions come first, strategic reasoning second, which is completely true. You will have a disadvantage in any discussion if you know this, that people are primarily driven by their moral intuitions. This is why I believe people don't change their minds, because they don't really know that they're driven by their moral intuitions. And there's a devastating experiment that Jonathan Haidt did where he hypnotized people, and they implanted this hypnotic level of disgust when they would read a certain word, and they gave them stories, and some of the stories had that word in it and some of the stories didn't have that word in it. And the people who had the word in the story judged the people in the story more harshly for moral infractions, because that disgust kind of took over. And they were like, oh, I'm disgusted by this guy. Throw the book at him. Like, if this shit gets into jury trials, oh, we're totally screwed. Well, I guess you can't really hypnotize a jury, but anyway. So, but the interesting thing about the study that Jonathan Haidt did was they gave people actual stories that had no moral infractions whatsoever. These people were fucking Kyle Rittenhouses. These people were completely innocent. These people were the hero cop that saved the black girl from being stabbed by the other crazy person who was trying to stab her. Okay. No moral infractions at all. And they would read the story, they'd get the flash of disgust, and they would invent moral infractions. This tells you most people are just purely driven by their moral intuitions. They're not driven by rational, reasonable thought. So if you're sitting arguing with these people on Twitter or in the comment sections of YouTube, which I do a lot, and I don't know why, like, bad for me, I shouldn't do it. But you're just wasting your time. They're never going to change their minds. They're incapable of changing their minds. They'll tease you, make you think they're going to change their minds just to keep you on the hook, but they're not going to change their minds. The butter anvil for $2. Messing with me again. The butter anvil. You can't have an anvil that's made out of butter. This answer satisfies me, Adam. Watch Social Justice Detective. Oh, so you do like yes. You can see in the shot that I'm shooting into the camera. I shoot into the camera because it's like, it's just cool. That's like the coolest transition in Social Justice Detective. Gemini, you were going to bed. Gemini Samimi for $2. Play the female roles. I want to see Femboy Adam. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Oh, guys, you guys are, oh no, Danimal the Bruce now. People don't like videos that are just me reading super chats, but I guess we kind of, I mean, this is our community. I've been listening to more and more of Destiny. And I mean, Destiny just gets on a stream and he plays video games and he's just kind of hanging out with the community. They send him stuff. I mean, you guys are great. You guys send me all kinds of stuff and I have interesting dialogues and shit like that. I feel like I missed a super chat from Mr. Ubercross. Did I? Let's see. Maybe I haven't caught up to it yet. I feel like I did. Where's that? Okay. Mr. Ubercross for $2. I just tuned in. What the fuck is going on? Well, what's up, Mr. Ubercross? We're just hanging out, talking some mad smack about communists and the things that you should know. Wait, I got through 2 of them. I'm not sure I got through the 3rd. Oh, evolution, moral psychology, selectorate theory, and I think MMT for the economics. I really do. I think MMT has it more. I keep wanting to ask, and I'm listening to the Mises guys because I'm kind of trying to figure out, what do they have to offer that's good, like special, that really is informative. But all they really focus on is like they're a one-trick pony. They're like money supply big, inflation bad, money supply small, inflation or deflation good. And they never mention the productivity side of the equation. Or there's so many different scenarios where you get inflation that has nothing to do with the money supply. Inflation is caused by bidding wars on things. I guess if the money supply is bigger, like in the housing situation, that that is a factor. That's completely a factor. people bidding up houses were because of easy money. So they do have a point there. It's not all bad. Daniel the Bruce for $4.99 says, guys, stop. You should not super you should not super chats make and Adam read hard to read. Okay, guys. Danimal, why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? So terrible for a bad reader. Daniel the Bruce for $4.99. I wish I could read it better than that. Guys, stop. You should not super chats make that Adam read hard to make that Adam read hard to read. Okay, guys. Yeah, you guys are mean. Collivar for $5 says the verdict on the cop, according to the judge's instructions and the attorney's closing arguments, in my opinion, was manslaughter, but not murder too. Yeah, I think everybody who's looking at the Derek Chauvin thing kind of impartially is saying that. I mean, my moral intuitions get stoked here too. I mean, someone was saying something about how he's on the hook to serve 10 years for tax evasion. I mean, I didn't vote for Donald Trump because Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes. So, I mean, I pay a lot of fucking taxes. So what irks me, what gets my moral intuitions riled is people who don't pay their taxes. People who make money, and cops generally make a decent living. People who make a decent living and lie and cheat on their taxes bug the shit out of me. So, I mean, hang them high as far as I'm concerned. It's like, yeah, he did that. Maybe they didn't have him on murder too. But, I think not paying your taxes should be a capital offense. So fuck that guy. So I'm curious. I should jump to the chat because I'm curious what your take on that is. I'm obviously I have the chat. I don't have the chat running in real time here. So here I jumped over to the real time chat to see, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys agree with me on fucking tax cheats? Like, should tax evasion be a capital offense? God, it's completely moral intuitions too. It's just me because I pay. Like, I don't want to cheat on my taxes. I don't want to cheat on my taxes. I lose sleep at night. I feel better if I don't cheat on my taxes, but I know a lot of people do cheat. And but I mean, that guy cheated a lot. Like a lot. Like if you're serving 10 years for tax evasion, you're not paying your taxes. Hold on. Taxation is so everyone basically disagrees with me. Well, Stefan disagrees with me. Like a million. Okay, I guess we're just now. Taxes should be voluntary. Oh, okay. So you don't mind. You should need to take count of it. All crime should be a capital offense. Yeah, that's right. Danimal the Bruce knows what's up. Let's see here. Gartham for $5 says, I've concluded that Richard Wolff is a master at saying gratuitous amounts, yet saying nothing at all. Exactly. Oh my God. Him and Michael Eric Dyson should have a debate, but they're both like lefties. They're on the same side. What would they debate? Yeah. Michael Eric Dyson is the same thing. Fucking big words, lots of talk, says absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Ridiculously nothing. Destiny humiliated him. He came off looking like an idiot. He came off looking like a fool. But Richard Wolff is an idiot. Richard Wolff is a fool. It amazes me that he goes like he'll go on one of these lefty podcasts and like Ben Burgess will sit across from him and they'll talk and he's a moron. He's a fucking moron and no one will call him out. No one will say, hey, this kind of seems like it wouldn't work. This makes it seem like you're an idiot. Oh God. It's the authority. Respect for what is it called? The authority fallacy. I shouldn't put everything in terms of fallacies, but They defer to his authority as accolades. So they're like, oh, this guy must be smart. He's got all these accolades. Yeah, but he's not really that smart. I don't have a lot of accolades, and I don't consider myself that smart, though. I'm well read. You guys could be as smart as me. Just read books. That was a funny exchange I had with PSA Sitch, because PSA Sitch is reading a book, Mark Blyth's book on austerity. It's another economics book. And he asked me some questions because I had read Thomas Sowell's book on the housing crash. So he asked me a bunch of housing crash questions, and I didn't remember, but it was obvious he was reading other books on economics. So I asked him what book he was reading and was like, I'm going to get this book. You shouldn't be reading without me. I was obviously joking around in DMs. And that mofo tweeted out our DMs. Totally tweeted out our DMs, our joking DMs. So people... obviously, I think they believe I'm joking, and I don't care if he tweets out those DMs, but it was pretty funny. Sid should not be reading. You guys understand. I make sure. I don't want you guys getting triggered, okay? Like I said, moral psychology is number 2 in the list of things that like make an impact on the world. If you guys read something and it triggers you in the wrong way, you're going to be off that. You're going to hate that thing. So I'm trying to avoid the triggering. None of the lefties, when they do their videos or they make or write their books or do their podcasts or whatever they do, none of them think in terms of I shouldn't trigger people because I'm an activist. There's a message here that I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to win people over. No, none of them think that. Bosch might think that triggering people is actually good for him. Bosch has just found a choir. So many YouTubers are like, I'm finding a choir that is amicable to my message. I'm completely the opposite. I want a challenge. I want to convince people that completely disagree with me. And to do that, you must understand moral psychology. What do we got? Did I miss some things? I feel like let's see. Oh no, I got Gartham. Okay. I'm caught up here. Utter Nonsense for $2. Welcome, Utter Nonsense. I see you here often. Part of the community. Am I allowed to use the community word? I remember the skeptics hated the community word. Destiny and Bosch use the community word all the time. So maybe it's like a leftist. It's so funny. You have to, and words trigger people. They do. So you have to use the correct language. One of the things so I watched this. Well, I listened to the talk while I was working on the comic, but I listened to a talk from the MMT girl that I played the video for on Twitter. She did a talk with Stephanie Kelton, so I was interested. But in the very beginning of the talk, she comes out and she says her pronouns. She's like, this is my name, my pronouns are, and I thought, okay, well, you just lost 50% of your audience right there. And I would argue, realistically, you lost 75% of your audience when you came out and said, I'm doing my pronouns here. My pronouns are. You lost 75% of your audience right there. And she's an activist. She's in the video. She's literally asking people to donate. So maybe that works. Maybe going after 25% of the electorate works. I mean, she said she was canvassing for Bernie Sanders. Last I checked, Bernie Sanders lost. Lost. All because he had a healthcare plan that was completely unreasonable. I think there's a chance Bernie Sanders would be president if he just adopted Biden's healthcare plan. Maybe not because of the socialist label. Probably not. Utter Nonsense for $2 says, I don't condone dyslexic bullying, but I think I might have paperwork somewhere that says I'm dyslexic, but you guys know my story I was literally diagnosed with dyslexia, so it's not a self-diagnosis here. And you can see it. I'm learning a song on the harmonica too. I'm tempted to bust it out because I think I'm pretty close. Like a real song. Sitch is making fun of me. Sitch claims he can play the piano, but I don't know. I've never heard him play the piano. You guys have heard me play the harmonica like a bunch of times. Mr. Ubercross for $5. The issue economically is that Austrians don't want to do math. It's totally philosophical psychology for them. I listened to, oh, I should shout out the channel because he's got a smaller channel. I listened to a live stream today with two people talking about monetary policy. They were both Austrians. They're both Mises people, and they were doing a lot of math. They were definitely diving into the details. I kind of like that. So Mr. Ubercross, that's you that doesn't like to do the math, but some people do. Let's see here. So I have nearly 200 people watching, listening right now, which is, that's cool. That's good for me. That's good. That's good. Very good. Let's see. Let me make sure that I'm okay. I'm almost caught up on super chats, I think. No. Oh yeah. Okay. Draz Knock for $5 says, with MMT, the word spend triggers people. That is an excellent observation. That is a very good observation. With MMT, the word spend triggers people. Try conceptualizing it as the government loaning or making money available rather than the spending. Yeah. That is a cool fix. And I focus a lot on language because it is tough. It is tough to talk about these things without triggering people. And I mean, if you really want to have good conversations about this stuff, you have to focus on not triggering people, which is half the battle, especially if you want to be persuasive, which I do. I feel like I've been somewhat successful at being persuasive because I have so many people in my audience that just disagree with me on so many different things, but we can still have productive conversations. I mean, the 16-year-olds voting is, people love talking to me about that stuff, but none of them really address my argument. And that's what I find fascinating about it, is that I understand their argument that they're making, but I don't think they really understand my argument. Some do. Explosive X for €5 says, Adam, have you considered starting a book club? Pick a book every month and get a few questions on to and get a few quests on to talk about it. Not really. I mean, maybe I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. I mean, I love talking to people, so. And I think Mr. Ubercross, I think people want to reach out to me. A bunch of people have reached out to me after I talked about doing a regular Thursday stream, and they are like, I want to talk to you about this, or I want to talk to you about that, which I think that's pretty much all Destiny and Vosh do, is they just talk to different people. And I mean, I feel like I have better takes than Vosh and Destiny. I feel like Vosh and Destiny they leave a lot of stuff out. I'm kind of a Destiny fan. Destiny's in an interesting position because Destiny can actually challenge the views of the left in a way that Sargon and others can't, because they can't necessarily engage and make arguments. That people come to like a Vosh Sargon debate with their minds already made up. They're not, it's basically like blood sports. They're not there to actually listen to the arguments. But like Destiny debating Richard Wolff, I mean, people are there. They seem to be primed to say, okay, these guys are both on the left, so I really have to make a decision on which one I agree with. I'm at liberty here. I'm in a situation where I could agree with either of these people because they're both on my team. And that's a crazy cool place to be in for Destiny, not for Richard Wolff. Richard Wolff, if you haven't figured it out already, is a moron. Okay. Nobody wants to be in Richard Wolff's position. He's like an instructor at Harvard or something. What the fuck? What world are we living in? God, I wish I should pull up the video, because the thing Richard Wolff says is so amazingly just crazy, stupid, and stupid on the face. That the reason that video got 1 million views on my Think Club channel was because of Richard Wolff's just blatant idiocy. Every single comment on that video is like, oh my God, Richard Wolff is a moron. Richard Wolff, we don't have to watch it. I'll just basically sum it up. So Richard Wolff is explaining how worker co-ops work, and he explains it by a restaurant. He says any business can do this. This is how the business is run as a worker co-op. Everybody comes in on certain days of the week and they do their stuff, but one day a week, like half the restaurant sits around and they're like the board of directors, and they decide what's on the menu and how to decorate the restaurant and how the restaurant will be run. And then on another day of the week, the other half of the restaurant comes in and they are the board of directors, and they figure out how things are going to run. And then those people all vote, and evidently out of this process is going to come the perfect restaurant that everyone will want to eat at. And I'm just like, no, that restaurant is going to die in about 2 weeks, because I've worked in a lot of restaurants. I can't imagine that process playing out in any way other than utter abject failure. I mean, I worked at a restaurant once where the owner would come in and he would make changes and tinker around and stuff like that. But I can't imagine those changes being put up for a vote, because like everybody had different takes on whether or not those changes were good changes. Like your restaurant would completely be stopped. I mean, obviously the owner is making the changes and looking at the bottom line and seeing if the changes work, not whether or not the employees were happy with the changes. So yeah, very strange. That video shows Richard Wolff to be kind of the fraud that he is. Did I read this one? Oh, I think I did. I think I'm all caught up. Yes. No, one more. Render unto Caesar for $4.99. Sorry, Adam, I'm behind. But my friends out of high school mostly wanted kickback jobs, aka dumb jobs. Yeah. Man, as someone, I mean, I've been in that situation. One of the reasons why I worked in restaurants and worked bartending and stuff like that is so I could have a dumb job while I pursued my art career. I mean, that's basically, I wanted to have as much free time to draw and paint as possible, and dumb jobs were the facilitator for that. I don't know that was necessarily a good life thing for me to do. Obviously, being an artist is somewhat irresponsible, kind of like in reality. It's not the path to riches. Let's put it that way. But yeah, no, dumb jobs are great. Dumb jobs are great. Yes. So yeah, no, it's really crazy. They're offering, and that's what I meant with the tweet. They're kind of offering people something they don't even want, which, like, how is that a good deal? Okay, so let's watch some video. Here we go. Hopefully I didn't boomer it. I don't think I boomered it. I don't think I boomered at all. You should hear sound.
The investment.
We're going to do this video on Sunday, so I'm going to have a lot more to say about it. But this is Wolff debate aftermath and backlash. This video is hilarious because Vosh is kind of trying to smooth things over. Vosh, it's weird. Vosh, and I believe this is obviously just speculation, but it seems like Vosh is kind of working behind the scenes and just trying to make everybody in the leftist community happy so that his community can grow and be powerful in politics. Like, that's his ultimate goal. So he just wants people to get along. And Destiny really doesn't get, Destiny's a truth seeker. He doesn't give a fuck if people get along. He's like, who's right? So this is an interesting exchange. Destiny is responding to Vosh trying to smooth over the fact that Destiny, some internet debate bro, and he went into this debate as the internet debate bro. And Richard Wolff went in. I mean, he's wearing a sport coat and like a button-down shirt. He's going in like, I am the authority on this. And he looked like an idiot. Like, who the fuck is going to take a class from Richard Wolff after that nonsense? Well, the commies are, obviously. Why? What do commies want? What do commies want? I don't understand it.
Question. It's not my interest here to pose myself as some kind of superior interlocutor compared to Richard Wolff.
I don't know.
The
an
only
answer.
point I have to make is that I think this was a disappointing showing. I have not, generally speaking, been a huge.
See, listen to how Vosh is so diplomatic. People hate it when I say things that could be construed as complimentary to Vosh. I don't necessarily know that diplomatic is a what is a negative form of diplomatic? Skeezy, used car salesman, maybe. I don't know. I don't think diplomatic is always a good thing. He's basically he's spinning this. He's totally spinning this. He's spinning it. He's like, I'm not I'm not saying I'm a superior interlocutor to Richard Wolff. He's like, I don't want to say that I'm better than Richard Wolff, but I am. Richard Wolff couldn't even give a fucking definition. He couldn't even give a definition of socialism that they could work off to have that they could work together on to have a productive conversation. Like, and Destiny actually, one of the things he said that I find fascinating is, like, I don't have a problem with these people wanting to start worker co-ops. Knock yourself out. Go start a worker co-op. Do it. Do it. This is America. Do your own thing. Do it. The problem that I have is when they want to abolish property rights. This is where these socialists, get under my skin because, and I brought this up. I debated Vosh on this on Modern Day Debate. And I brought up Why Nations Fail, the book Why Nations Fail. All of Vosh's community gave me such a hard time about talking about a book. The people who, you can't go 5 minutes without them suggesting some, Das Capital. You got to read Das Capital for you to understand Marxism. But they don't like my book, Why Nations Fail, which makes a stunning argument that you don't get liberty, you don't get, strong social safety nets without property rights. Property rights are the bedrock of Western civilization, okay? The nations that have insecure property rights are fucking shithole countries. They're destitute, wealthless nations, okay? Property rights are the central foundation of Western civilization, like it or not. That's the way it is. And even, there's this great video that I've gone back and listened to a couple times where the guy talks about property rights. And he says in a lot of these nations, they all have property, but they don't own the property on paper. The property belongs to the king, the warlord, whoever else, the government, right? So they actually live on the land, manage the land, but they can't use the land as collateral to build a business because they have insecure property rights. So these places end up being shithole countries because they're socialist, and obviously the land belongs to the government. You can't actually own it yourself. You live there, you maintain it, you keep it up, but you don't actually own it. So you can't go to a bank and get a loan against your property, and you can't build a business. So obviously their economy is going to be stuck in the toilet forever. So yeah, that's basically, if you're having a conversation with Richard Wolff and you're advocating for strong social safety nets, what are we arguing about? What are we having a conversation about? But if Richard Wolff wants to abolish property rights, wants to abolish private property, wants to force regular businesses out of business so worker co-ops can have a chance of surviving, then you're a fucking moron, okay? You have to bring evidence. You have to present a case. why that's going to work. Okay. And that case has to involve going against the mountains of evidence and arguments that Darren Acemoglu and his co-author on Why Nations Fail and their second book, The Narrow Corridor, the narrow corridor, the path, the treacherous path towards liberty, or something like that. I should look it up, but their second book. I mean, you got to counter their arguments. They make a strong case, a very strong case. That's a logical, coherent argument based on evidence that you have to counter that evidence. Like, and this is why, this is what's interesting. There's another video that I've been just saving videos to do on the Thursday stream. There's another video with another commie who actually makes fun of Jordan Peterson and Brett Weinstein and supposedly devastatingly debunks Peterson and Weinstein. And he doesn't engage on any of the arguments. It's like, this is why I brought this up in the debate with Vosh. It's like, Vosh, just because you don't know about these arguments doesn't mean these arguments don't exist. They don't exist. So when you come out with your like ironclad argument, that argument's been debunked. You're putting forward an argument that's already been destroyed, annihilated. If you want people to live in poverty, Vosh claims to be an advocate for the downtrodden and dispossessed. Let those people own their property. Let those people borrow against their property. Let the most productive people in society build businesses. Most people like me just want a dumb job. Okay. I'm a relatively intelligent guy. I'm definitely not like, man, there's so many people that are so much smarter than me. But when I first started working at a restaurant, I basically did the math. I do back of the envelope math on what the restaurant was making, how much the owner made, how, after the employees, all this kind of stuff. And I figured out about how much he was earning. And I don't remember what the actual figure was, but in my mind, I said, is it worth me starting a restaurant to make this much money? Am I that passionate about? Well, obviously, I wasn't passionate about working at a restaurant at all. I was passionate about my artwork, but I did the calculation. I said, is this something that I could do to make this much money? And I got to tell you, it was not enough money to even come close to enticing me. Like, that guy was so passionate about his restaurant and that you needed that passion to be able to develop that restaurant and make it work for that little money, that little bit of money. That's another thing. Like, if Richard Wolff wants to have a conversation about rent seeking, like separating rent seeking from developing like tangible value in the economy, then you're having a completely different conversation. But I don't think Richard Wolff is like smart enough to actually have that conversation, which is really, it's sad. He's just a fucking grifter. He's just a grifter. He doesn't know any of this shit. Lord of the Nerds for $5 says, the best part of the Destiny versus Dick debate was Destiny asking Wolff to repeat the question he was supposed to be answering back, and Dick couldn't do it. I know. Oh my God. I know. Because he's not answering the question. Somebody taught Richard Wolff that don't answer the question that is asked. Answer the question that you want to answer, which is what they teach you in politics. But, not if you're a truth seeker. If you're a truth seeker, that is not the correct route. That is the dodge. And I love doing this. I can't remember what debate I had that I discovered this, but this is such a good ploy, and I use it all the time now. You guys hear me use it all the time. I say, you're not answering the question, so I'll ask it again. That's the perfect way to call them out for that fucking talking nonsense. You're not answering the question, so I'll ask it again. But Destiny's route is pretty good too. Do you remember the question you're supposed to be answering? Hilarious. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I got 13 seconds in. This is why the Sunday stream is 9 hours long. Look, I've talked for an hour straight here. I always think I'm not going to be able to get on a live stream. I was super not in, like I always think that I'm not going to be able to have anything to talk about, but I can always have something to say. It's weird. I'm a fucking motor mouth.
Proponent of Richard Wolff in my streams.
Oh,
I'm a huge
no.
proponent.
If you guys want to know what this feels like right now, if you're a socialist right now and you want to know what this feels like, there's a ride at Six Flags called the X2. And what happens is you go to the very top of this ride.
Celestial, $5. Richard.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to sign off. I don't want to step on Jack Show's toes, but they're late. Let me know when the Jack Show starts and I'll go ahead and sign off. Or maybe I'll just go. I don't know how many people are here for me or how many people care about the Jack Show. You can always back up the Jack Show. So, and now I'm just live streaming by myself. I don't even really have any Comicsgate people on here. Oh well.
You go to the very top of this ride where you're facing backwards. Let me show you where you're at right now. Let me show you where you're at right now in the socialism arc. If you're
this is such a brilliant analogy. Like, yeah, you're the socialists. They thought, oh my God, Richard Wolff is going to destroy Destiny. He's the academic. He knows all of this stuff. He's just a fucking grifter, dude. Richard Wolff has some nonprofit that he's probably making a salary from. Like, Richard Wolff is invested in the capitalist system pretty clearly. He's making money off of this shit.
socialist right now. You're right here, backtracking in real time as quickly as possible, going backwards as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Backpedal, 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 backpedal.
Get me out of here. Richard Wolff was never a good debater. He never knew what he was talking about. That's where you're at right now.
Noam Chomsky seems to me like a thoroughly thoughtful man. Richard Wolff seems to me like a popularizer of an idea. He's good at giving speeches. He's convincing and humble and charismatic. When
He literally
Richard Wolff is charismatic, Vosh. I don't know. You got to rethink that one. Richard Wolff is not charismatic. Richard Wolff looks like a fucking ancient person who doesn't even know how a fucking microwave works. Okay, he's not charismatic at all. If you're a communist, maybe he's charismatic, but normal people don't look at Richard Wolff and think, oh God, this guy's charismatic. They think this guy doesn't know how to program his cell phone. This guy doesn't know how to set up his email.
They said last stream he likes Wolff a lot and agrees with a lot of the things that he says. Wait, is that true? Do you have a link of that?
Yeah, this is true too. Gabriel Archange Gabriel says, humble, define humble, Vosh. Yeah, exactly. Richard Wolff did not go into this with any humility. Richard Wolff went into this with the idea that this was going to be a cakewalk, that, I'm debating a lefty here. Sit down on my knee, son, and let me explain to you the tradition of socialism. Let me hand down the commie tradition for you. And Destiny's like, not really interested in that. Not really interested. We got a real commie problem here on the left, and I want to win some elections. That's where Destiny's coming from. Destiny's like, I'm a pragmatist. I don't know if Destiny calls himself a pragmatist, but what he's done, very pragmatic, very pragmatic. He's like, nah, socialists are losing us elections. The election was too close. If we hadn't cheated like crazy motherfuckers, if CNN hadn't lied about Donald Trump 24/7, 365 for 4 years, we might have lost that election. I mean, it was too close when we had all of Silicon Valley blocking the Hunter Biden story, and we still barely squeaked it. We got some problems. We got to fix.
presenting these ideas to like a broader setting. But from none of his public engagements did I get the feeling from Richard Wolff that he was capable of doing some kind of on-the-nose deep dive into these ideas.
To be clear again, I didn't want an on-the-nose deep dive. I just wanted like some basic definitions. That's all I just wanted some basic working definitions by which we could go with. I didn't need like the ultimate deep. He's the one that was going on deep dives.
The ability to do
that's so true. And not only that, Richard Wolff wanted to debate Jordan Peterson. Like, he wants to step in the ring and debate this stuff. Oh my God. Jordan Peterson would have mopped the floor with him. He couldn't fucking give a definition. Actually, it's better because Jordan Peterson is like too nice a guy. Jordan Peterson wouldn't have mopped the floor with him because he would have been a nice, as long as Richard Wolff was nice, he would have been nice. Although Richard Wolff might have been mean, and then Jordan Peterson would have mopped the floor with him, which could have been epic.
these online debates is like a very specific thing. Most people can't do this, and that's not because we're super duper special. Imagine if you were trying to test an academic's ability to disseminate ideas by how effectively they could play Scrabble, and they have to like assemble.
Vosh makes a really good point here. Like, if you're an academic, especially like a PhD, it's not expected that you would ever have to like put forth a really complicated researched statement and like
I gotta disagree with Destiny because that's utter fucking nonsense. So many people are throwing challenges at Jonathan Haidt for moral foundations theory that you have to be on your fucking game as an academic. You're getting constantly people writing papers, critiquing your papers. You're in an environment where people want to know the truth and definitely want to tear you down if you don't have the truth. So the idea that an academic isn't prepared, willing and able to defend their positions with logic and evidence is ridiculous. What is so interesting about this is that we did definitely expose that Richard Wolff is not an academic. He's not, like, maybe he's a historian, but he's not in any way, shape, or form capable of defending his positions. The Darren Ozamoglu and I think it's James Robinson, the guys who wrote Why Nations Fail, like, they've probably got a half a dozen academic papers under their belt. Like, they're in the same position. They're like, they're making an argument. They wrote a book, a fucking baller book titled Why Nations Fail, right? If you want to understand why nations fail, why some nations are prosperous and some nations are shitholes, you've got to dive in. You've got to fucking look at the evidence. You've got to put a reasonable argument together, okay? All of these guys are doing is, they're catering to a fan base that wants to believe whatever it is they want to believe for whatever reasons, okay? They're at work. They hate their boss. They want more power, whatever. They go to the internet and they look for someone who says things that, jive with their intuitions. These guys are in a position where they're catering to those people. They're saying things that jive with their intuitions. They're not based in fact. I mean, this is based, Marxism is basically like another religion. It's the same thing with the critical race theory stuff. It's the same thing with all of these things. All of these things are just intuition driven. It's so sad.
Defend that statement against like other people that are like grilling you, right? Like, this isn't what PhDs do. So
what is this? Let's see. Margaret Mersel says academic papers ain't worth shit now. And there is definitely some truth to that with the but this is this is why. Like, the next generation of academics coming up are gonna make their names on debunking a lot of those academic papers. And it's specifically psychology and social psychology that have the replication crisis. It's not all academic papers. I'm sure like the math academic papers are doing just fine. I'm sure some of those academic papers are fine. But this is the scientific process right there. Somebody is going to make their name debunking these bad studies. People are making their names debunking these bad studies.
So I do agree with what he's saying here for sure.
Assemble the Scrabble letters to make an argument. You know what I mean? The fact that they can't do that on the fly doesn't necessarily mean they're not intelligent. It means that they're not a professional Scrabble player.
God, I can't. This is the one thing that bugs me about Destiny. Like, I can't handle the video game noises in the background. It's so, I mean, it's just obnoxious. It's like working in a hospital or something where you've got like beeping and it's terrible.
You know?
Everybody that's bringing up this, whatever defending your dissertation is, that sounds like capitalist propaganda to me. Okay.
In my opinion.
Oh, wait, fuck. I skipped the dono earlier. Seeing debates these unironically turning into a still letter. Oh, fuck. I skipped one dono earlier. Fuck, I don't see where it was. Well, I love you.
See, this is Destiny's gig where he just sits and doesn't say anything for long periods of time. How is this in an edited video? This is a 15-minute video and they didn't edit out this long silence.
Whoever you were.
Stupid, but he did say a few points on market socialism that seemed to have some merit, mainly on the opening statement that Wolff never addressed. I don't know what specific points you're trying to make here. Have I seen Wolff's debate with Valuetainment? No, I have not.
I guess they're just doing the same thing I'm doing with you guys. I mean, I'm basically watching the chat and responding to you guys, so I shouldn't. Glass houses here, right? I shouldn't make such a big deal about it. Hi, Rags. I've been on a couple streams with Rags. Rags is cool. I like Rags. Derek Drummond for $5 says, with regards to math, there is an article that was published a few months ago trying to argue a particular field of math is racist. Okay. Okay, Derek Drummond, you got a point there. Math is even gone. Math is totally useless. Do you guys listen to James Lindsay's podcast, the New Discourses podcast? He makes some really it's difficult for me because I want to believe that it's not everywhere. I don't want to turn into the wokies, you know. I don't want to turn into Wokistan where I feel like there's a Nazi under everyone's bed. And I feel like James is drifting in that direction with his podcast. Like there's a critical race theorist under everybody's bed. So I worry about, you know, drifting to that extreme, but he does make some pretty cogent arguments that there is a critical race theorist under everybody's bed. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll save this nonsense. A genetic disposition for $5 says, remember when you said people who lose friends over politics are losers? I do. Fuck. Oh my God. I kind of got to eat my words on that one, huh? Fuck. Well, technically I am a loser because if I lost a friend, but I guess I never gave an update on the Isaac thing. I texted back and forth with Isaac a couple times, and I haven't talked to him. I haven't actually had a chance to talk to him. So I do have some questions for him, obviously, but I told him I forgive him, and obviously I don't want to lose him as a friend over this, all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm not interested in moving forward with the project just because it's so weird. And I don't really know. I don't know that I have a good tangible take on what the fuck was even going on what his ultimate goals are. And he left that super weird comment on the video, which I'm not going to read it now because it's so off topic, but I'll bring it up and I'll read it maybe next Thursday. And we'll dive in as soon as there is some good closure. I have a chance to talk to Isaac. Obviously I'll update you on what's going on, but what I'm trying to say is genetic disposition. I'm not a loser. Okay. Forgive. My atheist Christianity compels me to forgive. I'm obligated. I'm under obligation. I can't do anything else. I have to. What is this? Pausing the streams is probably for the best. Oh yeah, on the Isaac thing? Yeah, totally. I am sad that he never got to talk to Danimal the Bruce, and he seems super excited to talk about talk to Danimal. I don't know. Maybe we actually made some headway, though. Maybe a lot of people. I got a lot of messages from all of you guys that were very nice, very, very, very consoling. It's nice to know that a lot of people had my back, and I mean, some of those messages thought that maybe this would be helpful in the whole project of convincing him that, you know, conservatives weren't just racist idiots, that he would have an understanding now of how his actions are affecting other people. And maybe that's true. I don't know. Dude, I was triggered as fuck. And I mean, that video's almost got 10,000 views. I don't get 10,000 views on a video. So people are definitely interested. What are these crazy commies talking about
You
here?
need to talk to Chomsky? Yeah, I think that'd be wonderful. A professor of economics should be able to explain / discuss economics, though, which is why I'm disappointed, of course.
Yeah, of course you're disappointed, Vosh, because yeah, Richard Wolff is a professor of economics in name only. Like I don't know that Richard Wolff could talk. Could you talk to Richard Wolff about supply and demand and just the basics of economics? I don't think you could. I honestly don't think he could. This guy believes that the fucking busboy at a restaurant can make decisions about a menu. He believes that we need to live in a world where you have to hire a busboy that is competent enough to make decisions on the menu whenever you start a restaurant. That society would fucking collapse. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to even contemplate.
Did you see Chomsky take a dump on Force the Vote? He called it childish, basically. Yes, Chomsky is extremely based.
But one of the more fracturing and extremely divisive debates in recent memory occurred over this idea called Force the Vote, which sought to pressure progressive congresspeople into using their leverage to essentially threaten Speaker Pelosi's reelection, and as a result, potentially get some policy concessions, or at very least a floor vote on Medicare for all. Do you think that elected progressives, congresspeople like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ro Khanna, who believe in policies like Medicare for all and a Green New Deal, have a responsibility to be fighting to push President Joe Biden and his administration even harder by using their leverage in instances like this, or to hold up key bills in order to get policy concessions?
Let's take a look at the real world, not a dream world, the world we live in. Oh
my God, Chomsky is so based. I was thinking that the whole time. These lefties, they think they can. This is why it always devolves into tyranny, because they literally think that you can force people to adopt your policies. It's for all the virtue signaling about democracy in the workplace. They have no understanding how fucking democracy works. It's repulsive. It's totally repulsive. You got to build a coalition, dude. And to build a coalition, you have to be conscious of what people want, not what you want, not what you think people want. You have to know what they really want. And these lefties, they don't have a fucking clue. They don't have a clue. They're all ideologues. They're all in some ideological bubble. It's crazy. I don't think Chomsky's really that based either, but he's right on this point.
Suppose you manage.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Bento Box 31 says Chomsky looks so tired. I know. I was thinking that. As someone who's getting older myself, I think, God, I hope, man, I'd love to be still doing this shit when I'm like the crypt keeper there. How old is Chomsky? He must be like 1,000 years old. He looks 1,000 years old in this video, but doing live streams does keep you sharp. It does keep you a lot sharper. I know interacting with people keeps you sharper. Since COVID hit, I ran Deadline Junkie, so I'd have a lot of interaction with people through Deadline Junkies and stuff like that, but that's kind of grind to a halt with COVID. Now it's all online.
Push Pelosi to say, let's have a vote on Medicare for all. And in the Senate, push Schumer to have it. We know exactly what's going to happen. 50 Republicans will vote against it. A large number of Democrats will vote against it. 2 certainly.
Yeah, Chomsky knows. He's like, you got to build a coalition, dude. You didn't build the coalition. You don't force a vote when you don't have the fucking votes. It's stupid.
Manchin, Sinema, probably plenty of others. So what we're saying is, let's do.
Chomsky's 92. Wow, pretty close. I'm almost 92 myself.
Something to be defeated. Is that a strategy? I mean, it's nice to say, I want this, but we're not children who say, I want this piece of candy. I'm going to ask for it, even if I'm locked up in my room.
Absolutely. How do you feel a Chomsky versus Destiny debate would go? I don't think that Chomsky can really do debates anymore. With greatest respect to Chomsky, he's about 1 million years old. But if you want a comparison in how these debates would be treated, did you see Chomsky on the Bad Faith podcast? Remember when those two dumb...
Vosh actually agrees with us here. It's kind of sad. We covered the Bad Faith podcast with Chomsky because they were complete idiots with Chomsky, which was... It's funny that their podcast is called the Bad Faith podcast, but they're like in the liberal bubble. That podcast, so I think, makes like $90,000 a month. That's some crazy grift money. Jesus.
Fucks Brianna
King
Joy
Stallion,
Gray and
once you
Virgil
embarrassed
Texas
Chomsky, you
were
have
like
defeated socialism.
Him, and he destroyed them by just calmly laying out arguments that they couldn't give an answer to.
You really think that Trump is going to move us in a more positive direction relating to race issues in the United States than Biden would? Is that really the argument that you want to bring out here? Like, holy shit.
There was an opportunity to pull the lever and do things the right way with Barack Obama, but who don't see any real change having materialized, and that the status quo for them just simply isn't good enough.
So what you're proposing is, in order to get my voice heard, what I will do is help put into office a candidate who is dedicated to destroying the prospects for human life on Earth by racing towards environmental catastrophe, who is stacking the entire judiciary with young lawyers who for a generation will be able to block any progressive legislation, who will continue to dismantle the arms control regime, which is somewhat protecting us from nuclear war, I can go on and on. I will do that because that'll help me get my voice heard. No, I'm sorry, it won't.
God, Chomsky is fucking based.
Yeah, Chomsky knows how politics works, man. He knows how Selectorate Theory works. He knows what's up.
He didn't come off condescending either, which is pretty extraordinary. When Chomsky was talking with those two numbskulls, he came off incredibly level-headed, but Richard Wolff...
I'm going to fast forward a bit. Oh, no, I was going to fast forward because they're not talking about Richard Wolff, which is what I want to talk about. But he just mentioned Richard Wolff again.
Wolff came off angry after the first statement from Destiny. And Destiny's opening statement really was an antagonist.
See, and that was bad. That was bad. He did come off as angry. God, as someone who does come off as angry, like obviously when I was going at it with Isaac, I was fucking pissed. I was angry, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird because I don't know that getting angry is always bad, but Richard Wolff, angry is not the word. He came off as petty is really what I thought of it. Because listen, what I got angry over, a lot of people understood, and a lot of people felt that anger themselves, and they could empathize. That's a much different situation than the situation with Richard Wolff, where Richard Wolff was, I think, getting angry because he felt that Destiny was not respecting him as the super socialist authority that he believes himself to be. So he showed no humility. He got super angry because Destiny just wanted a definition from him, and he did come off looking petty. So I think that's a distinction worth making here. But it wasn't just the anger, it was the pettiness.
I mean, not for a debate. I think it was perfectly in line. I don't think it was uncalled for at all. Why are you fanboying for Destiny so hard? So I'm going to say one more thing because I hate feeling like I'm playing defense. I went into that debate biased in favor of Richard Wolff. Okay? I'm a petty man. I think that Destiny's been acting like a child lately, and nothing would have made me happier than seeing Richard Wolff stomp him. Okay.
See, Vosh is trying to build a coalition of the left YouTube sphere. It's funny. Yeah. That's obviously speculation. I can't read minds, all that good stuff, but it seems like when Vosh says something like Destiny's acting like a child, he means because Destiny's not playing nice with the people that we're supposed to be empowering in our community to fight against the real enemy. Vosh called Sitch a conservative. That's Vosh doesn't even know who his real enemies are. He really doesn't.
Okay. If you think that this is some kind of grifting bullshit, every single person in Destiny's audience already knows who I am. They've already seen my content. There is nobody in that community who doesn't know my name and voice in arguments. Okay. This is not a community that I need to kowtow myself to invest in. Okay. I went into that argument looking for a win from Wolff, and I was disappointed in his performance. If that's something that you can only read in ulterior motivations into, that's a problem on your half. You see?
Yeah, Wolff. How many people are not going to take Richard Wolff seriously anymore? I think a lot. I think a lot of people are not going to take Richard Wolff seriously any longer. I think there are a lot of people out there who've been simping for Richard Wolff. I've met a few of those people, and I got to tell you, they're not very bright people. They're not smart people. They're not fucking players out there in the political sphere. Richard Wolff will say the stupid shit that commies want to hear, and they like that. But he's not gonna come up with any cohesive arguments. He's not gonna argue in a way that's gonna turn rational people, smart people, into players in the space. I mean, first of all, the whole communist space is at a disadvantage because it's like logically incoherent. So you're not going to be able to attract the most intelligent people anyway, because like the most intelligent people who are going to drift into this commie space are people who are like lying just for the money, because there is a lot of money in that space. Like the Joy Green, the people they were talking about on that podcast with Noam Chomsky, those people they're making like $90,000 a month doing this communist grift. So that's going to attract people. Like smart people are going to say, oh, there's money to be made here. Maybe I can be a communist. Maybe I can put forward better arguments than the commies just to cash in on the gravy train. Yeah, you'll attract those kind of smart people, but you're not going to attract smart people that are true believers. You're going to attract middling intelligence people who are true believers, and they're not going to have good arguments because there are no good arguments in that space.
See, this is team sports. This is a big game for you. Okay. Which is very unfortunate. But, the point of Wolff's point was not to argue that these different definitions were correctly identified as socialist.
Vosh is actually correct. Not everyone can do this on the spot. Just because he is an academic doesn't mean this is the same environment. Arguing and formulating ideas is obviously a lot easier after the fact. But
Destiny, I started watching you back in the StarCraft 2 days.
That is true, actually. You got to be like doing it on the spot thing is more difficult, but I mean, you got to have your arguments. I mean, I don't understand. Hey, let me know if I've missed any of your super chats. I missed a bunch of super chats the other day, and I don't want to miss any. Render Under Caesar for $4.99 said Richard Wolff looks like the villain from Lilo and Stitch. I don't remember the villain from Lilo and Stitch, but it wouldn't surprise me. Oh yeah, he's got a villainous look. That's why I was like charismatic. Man, you got to be deep in the lefty bubble to think Richard Wolff is charismatic. My God.
Days. I got into socialism in freshman year of college, and Wolff was one of the people who radicalized me. Now I'm almost 30 and it was cool to see everything come full circle. Good job.
Cool.
I got to get one of those readers. How do I get one of those readers that reads my super chats in the nice, like British sounding voice? I have one of those readers on my computer, which I read articles with and stuff. It reads all kinds of shit to me while I'm working. So, but you guys don't want to hear that. You guys want to hear me struggle through the super chats. The super chat on the Destiny thing though was interesting because I like how the guy said Wolff radicalized him, because that's what Wolff is after. Wolff is definitely out to radicalize people. I mean, if you listen to Wolff's talks, Wolff has this one talk that he does over and over again about how your boss is ripping you off, how your boss is taking advantage of you, exploiting you. What a terrible feeling. What a terrible feeling to feel like you're being exploited. I am super happy that there are people who want to develop businesses that I can just work at, that I can just, go and do my part and, clock out. All the time, whenever I worked one of these dumb jobs, you hang out with people after work or whatever, and they're still talking about work. And I'm thinking, man, we clocked out hours ago. What the fuck? Why are we still talking about this shit? Work, I just always wanted work to be a smaller portion of my life, but I guess a lot of people, this is the thing. This is kind of the divide that I'm trying to point out here. There are the people who want to make work their entire life. They want, their career to be work. And there are people that don't want that. And the communists, they want to set up a world where you can't be one of those people who just, who legitimately feels like I am the one exploiting my boss, that my boss is the one doing the heavy lifting, doing the work that I don't want to do. And I'm the one that's just showing up, doing my work, clocking out, and just, doing my side hustle, doing my thing, doing what I want to do. So I feel like the exploitation goes both ways. And Richard Wolff never talks about that. Never talks about that. I've said it many times. Like, I feel like I've exploited every employer that I've ever had, because not only that, they talk about Richard Wolff doesn't factor this into the equation either, because there is something that you're taking with you away from the job. You're taking away experience, job experience. That's what the employer is giving to you, that you, take with you. You are learning something. If you pick the right jobs, you're learning something along the way. And that's valuable. That's valuable, but that doesn't figure into Richard Wolff's equation. Richard Wolff is so moronic that he just does the math. He's like, if profit is above, what you're getting paid, then you're getting ripped off. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. How do people fall for this nonsense? I'm glad to hear that the guy listening to Destiny has gotten away from Richard Wolff. I feel like Richard Wolff is the kind of person that, it kind of becomes a side quest for a lot of these people, and they're wasting a lot of their lives. They're wasting a lot of their lives, in this kind of thing. I wasted a lot of my time in the progressive bubble, and I totally regret it. I wasted maybe a couple of years really into George Lakoff, and I thought George Lakoff had the window onto the world, and conservatives were just these these mentally ill morons If you read George Lakoff, that's what you'll walk away believing. And I thought I had it all figured out. And what an idiot I was. I was an idiot like that for a couple of years. And I think of like conservative friends that I talked to and how I felt like my relationship with those friends, I kind of was like, I felt like I was morally superior to them in a way that's kind of disgusting. It really is. It really is. That's the kind of way that shit fucks up your mind. And it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your friends. I talked to one of my friends, longtime friend of mine that I used to talk about all the time. And always in the back of my head, I had this idea. And this may be one of the things that was going on with the Isaac situation, because I had the idea in the back of my head that, this he's just mentally slow. And I just, if I'm nice to him and I give him the right facts, he'll turn into a progressive like me. I think this is Vosh's tact. Vosh is on that same kind of quest. And it turns out I was the idiot. Like, I talked to this guy yesterday or the day before, and man, that guy's an amazing dude. He's an amazing dude. And I like those stupid feelings that I had were just completely unjustified. Like getting out of the progressive bubble is so liberating. It's so freeing. It's so nice to be able to just take people as they are, just to accept people as they are, and understand that, the world is not going to end because someone has a different opinion than you. Gartham for $10 says, this is not Wolff's first debate. He's engaged in this format before. The argument that he would be unprepared for the format does not apply. He wasn't ready for Destiny. Yes, Gartham, 100%. And thank you for the $10. You guys are obviously, I've said it a million times, way too generous for me, but it's true. It's totally true. Yeah, Wolff wants this engagement. What the hell? You could tell that Destiny was totally prepared to. Like, Destiny had listened to a lot of Wolff's videos. I kept wondering if Destiny had watched my video. I even did a search on it to see if you search Richard Wolff, if I was high in the search results, but I wasn't. If you search Peterson and Wolff, I'm right there on top. So that's probably why that video is getting so many views. But yeah, Destiny was prepared. Wolff was unprepared. There was not really any real engagement, which made Wolff look like an idiot.
My personal feeling, and maybe this is ableist or whatever me to say, but I feel like if you truly understand an idea, you should be able to have a conversation about it. I don't buy into this, like the Sean and Jen argument. They're like, oh, well, it's possible you fully understand something, but you're just totally incapable of talking about it. Like, you just can't do that. That's too hard. Like, I don't think this was a hardcore debate where I'm screaming down his fucking throat, trying to hold him to account or find logical contradictions or fallacies. Like, you should be able to just have a reasonable guy. Somebody asks you, like, hey, like if I was on a date with Richard Wolff, if we were just out.
This chat caught my eye. Was Adam might be in favor, but he's definitely vulnerable to evidence-based arguments of how it won't help if they're made with this elephant in mind. You guys are obviously talking to one another, but yeah, I love that you guys know the moral psychology. It's so great. I'm so curious if moral psychology has helped you guys as much as it's helped me, because I can tell. Like, being able to trace why I'm having the kind of anger that I'm having to certain moral intuitions has been super helpful for me dealing with those negative emotions. It's been very helpful. I'm going to play the video for a second. I'm going to run off. I have to take a quick break, but I'll be back.
Getting a coffee. And I was like, hey, man, so like, what is socialism to you? And he like says feudalism 400 times. Like, I don't want to say that it betrays like a misunderstanding of the material, because I don't think it's no, I will say that actually. I think that he has a hard time. I don't know if he's like fully integrated these ideas in such a way that he can express them to somebody that is challenging him on some of the definitions. Like, I think he should, as somebody with the level of education that he has and the type of public outreach that he does, I think that he should be able to incredibly easily engage with anything that I throw at him. And I wasn't even doing like that much. Like, we barely even got to talk about anything. That's on him.
but rather they were competing for the title's correct socialism. If a person asks you what your definition of socialism is, the correct answer is definitely not to fold your hands and give a historical lecture on like 17 different types of socialism that have competing definitions, competing histories, competing advocacies and outcomes, and then sort of like broadly point to the plurality of movements. Now, if you want to make the argument that socialists have been involved in and invested in a multitude of different movements and modes of production, that would be correct. There are plenty of socialists out there who are very, very, very on the there are plenty of socialists who have pushed for social democracy. Okay, there are plenty of socialists who have pushed for social democracy. Be said very clearly, and that doesn't mean they're not socialists. You can have a socialist, and they can spend their entire life doing nothing but pushing for higher taxes, which is not a socialist policy. It's a social democratic policy. But they're doing so because they think it benefits the workers, and you do what you can within the systems you live in. But that
I can't wait for Vosh to finally discover MMT. It's going to be pretty fascinating to see how he takes that, because like talking about the pushing for higher taxes, definitely. I mean, I have a completely different understanding of taxing now. I don't know that people are. It's so weird because I don't know that Vosh or Destiny really care. I mean, obviously, we all care to some extent about the downtrodden, the dispossessed. We want people to have successful and meaningful lives. We just have a difference of opinion on how to get there.
That doesn't make what they're doing socialism. It makes them socialists. Does that make sense?
See, and all this is completely irrelevant to me. Like, the only thing I want to have a conversation about is property rights. Like, that's all I care about, because so many of these people, they want to abolish private property. They want to abolish property rights. And that's mental. That's totally mental. You're hurting the people that you claim to want to help by abolishing property rights. If that guy who lives in his house and owns it, but doesn't own it on paper because the state owns it in some socialist nation, he can't start a business. He can't build a business for his family and his community, because these businesses are the businesses that create the jobs in the community, that literally create wealth. Adam Smith called it the wealth of nations. Okay. If you're not going to build, like, property rights build nations. So to say that you're for the workers and everything that you do is for the workers, but you have a view of the world that is going to create a system that, doesn't create any environment that workers can thrive, how can you possibly say you're for the workers? Makes absolutely no sense at all.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
In my experience, academics, blah, blah.
Lord of the Nerds for $2. Why be upset about tax evasion if taxes are deleted? I told you, it's not rational. It's not rational. I am doing my part to shrink the money supply to avoid inflation. Okay. And other people that aren't doing their part, they're taking a bigger piece of the pie than they should. They're hoarding pieces of the pie. It's unfair. It's inequitable. Inequitable distribution of the pie bugs me. God, it's so weird, because I should just cheat on my taxes more, but I feel like I can't do it. I don't know. I guess more I think about that when I think, is everyone cheating on their taxes a bunch? Maybe I should cheat more. You want to do what everyone else is doing. We're social animals. Oh my God.
Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Richard Wolff purports to be somebody that can have public debates and do public advocacy for socialism. He's not strict. It's not like we went to UCLA and pulled a random professor out and said, hey, come into the arena. Step in, bro.
Yeah, great fucking point. Great point Destiny makes. Richard Wolff was looking for this. Richard Wolff did a video challenging Jordan Peterson to a debate, saying, you know, you don't understand Marxism. Oh, the old you don't understand Marxism stuff. You don't understand the fucking world. Why? First, this is so crazy because it's like, it's so weird because it's like they want to debate you on Marxism, which you have to understand, but Marxism is literally a philosophy that completely gets human nature and human motivation wrong. Why are we studying Marxism? Why? Makes absolutely no sense.
Richard Wolff does a lot of these debates. He wants to do this. Like,
oh, that's so evil. Oh, I just became an Undestiny fan. There's always comments when I eat on a stream. There's always comments. People hate when I eat on stream, and look at Destiny here, just eating on stream. Man, I'm hungry. Those chips look good. I'll finish the video out and then I'll sign off.
If a person answers a million answers that you can throw out there, but if your question is, what is
gotta fast forward? I can't handle the
say?
Can't handle the chomp chomp.
Hold on one second. Appreciate it. Now we're even for you supporting me during a huge debate.
Oh, he's just messaging.
I care a
Vosh.
lot about these positions. I just want to see them argue better. Do you think you would have done better in the argument?
Vosh and Destiny like have a bromance. They're frenemies. Do I have the lingo down? Did I get the lingo right?
Yeah, for no other reason than because I'm familiar with this format of debate, I would say. You know?
Oh my God. It's so torture when you have headphones on. Destiny, why are you chomping in my ear?
You're biased not against Destiny or Wolff, but you're biased because you're used to the online debate pro format. I think Wolff was really thoughtful in his answers. Really, I thought that Wolff was mostly evasive in his answers.
Yeah, I agree with Vosh. Wolff was very evasive. Richard Wolff, well, I don't know why he even did this debate. I guess he did it because he thought I'm debating a lefty. This will be a cakewalk.
That was the perspective that I got. Because trust me, as somebody who spent some time in academia,
Vosh is saying that he has spent some time in academia. What does that mean? He went to college? Do I get to say well, guys, as someone who spent some time in academia, going to college to get my bachelor's degree. Oh my God. Talk about spin. Was Vosh working on a PhD or something? Doubtful. He's probably got a bachelor's degree and he's like, my time in academia.
Oh, it's the Vosh hater.
Don't let him just shit talk you and call you petty on this stream for 30 minutes.
Nice.
End Fat Ian's career.
He's got a Vosh hater there. In Fatty's career.
if you're familiar enough with the terminology, you can draw out a answer and make it sound very, very smart, and you can run through with it forever without ever directly answering a question, you know?
Bosch is like, I do this all the time. You just talk forever and you don't answer the question. How are you supposed to engage on a topic if you don't? Like, this is a thing. I see this all the time with the MMT stuff. Like, it drove me crazy today. I was listening to that talk with Stephanie Kelton, and she's saying, okay, Biden did like a 1.9 trillion like budget thing for I don't know what they're going to spend the money on. I guess infrastructure, right? And Stephanie Kelton is saying, no, we could do 3 trillion. And I keep thinking, well, I understand you're saying that the deficit is not the constricting factor, because the deficit is really, it's this bullshit argument that people make why we can't do that. But really, the argument is inflation. The thing that you're worried about is inflation and productivity. Productivity rises to a certain level and you can increase the money supply without causing inflation. But where do you get that 3 trillion number for? Why is 3 trillion the cutoff for causing inflation? Why not 4 trillion? Why not 5 trillion? I mean, that's the serious question. I understand that inflation is the important thing to keep track of, but what models do you have of inflation? And maybe she would say, as long as you're not close to full employment, once you reach full employment, that's really when inflation kicks in. We're not even close to full employment, so we don't have to worry about that. But couldn't you theoretically put through a bill that is like 5 trillion and you immediately max out full employment and then inflation hits? Or I don't know. Those are the details that I want to have a talk about. But most people don't. Most people just dismiss MMT out of hand and they don't even want to think about that stuff. And most people, if you're on the left, you're just like, oh, of course, 10 trillion. Inflation, that'll never happen. Come on, you want to know. I want to know the truth. This is a mystery. I'm into the mystery.
Don't you just have an undergrad? That's enough. You don't need to be a PhD to be familiar with the way you...
Bosch's own chat is calling him out. Bosch's own chat just said, don't you just have an undergrad? Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Does Bosch not even have is Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science? Bachelor's an undergrad, right? Or is because there's like associate's degrees too. Does Bosch just have an associate's degree? I have a bachelor. I have a BFA. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts, which is totally useless.
You can academically run off with it. Oh wait, how far are they? Oh Christ. I just want to play.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Mike Wilson Art says, fuck Adam, you're streaming at the same time as Jack's show. Yeah, I know. I went long. I wanted to finish the video up and I started late today. Is it bad? I don't know. I don't want to, I feel bad. I like all those guys and I don't want to stream at the same time as them, but I don't know how much, I have 250 people watching right now. I think Jack show generally has like 1,000 people. So, I got a quarter of the I'm 1/4 of the numbers. And I got 1/4 of the audience. Seems the math checks out. The economics work here. I'm gonna quit pretty soon here though. So
sure you could create a much stronger socialism argument than most people debate. Yeah, absolutely. I could crush an argument in favor of socialism. 100%.
Oh my God, Destiny, do it. Let's hear that argument. Just for entertainment value. I want to hear the argument. The crushing argument for socialism. Maybe I'll message Destiny on Discord. He's always on Discord. And maybe I'll see if I can get that argument out of him. I'm curious what it is.
100%.
He wins.
My personal feeling, and maybe this is ableist, whatever I'm going to say, but I feel like if you
He's going to call me autistic.
If you truly understand an idea, you should be able to have a conversation about it. I don't buy in. It's possible you fully understand something, but you're just totally incapable of talking about it. Like, you just can't do that. That's too hard. Like,
yeah, I completely agree with Destiny here. If you understand, this is the thing. And I always, I try to be humble because, and a lot of this, maybe the George Lakoff stuff wasn't a complete waste of time because that really taught me the humility. I was like, I thought I was so right about everything and I was so fucking wrong about everything. And that experience made me think, you always want to say along the way, I could be wrong about this. This could be wrong, because you want to be able to say, okay, well, I was wrong. I feel like I did that during my talking about UBI. And the only reason I became interested in MMT is because MMT seemed cogent and I was digging for answers on whether or not UBI would work. I was super interested in that.
I don't think this was a hardcore debate where I'm screaming down his fucking throat, trying to hold him to account.
I don't know who he's talking to here. I don't disagree with that. I think I said pretty clearly at the beginning that I don't think Destiny did any uncharitable rhetorical flourishes. Is there a reason to even call yourself socialist when all it seems to do is distract from your public positions? Yeah, unfortunately, I think you have to hold that label because categorically, I do think there's a pretty big difference between people who value economic democracy and people who don't value economic democracy. I don't pursue socialism because
What the is economic democracy the co-ops thing? People who value economic democracy? I guess that's his new term for the co-op thing. I mean, hold on. Value is created. You have to develop a co-op that is valuable for people to value it. Just value the idea, the hypothetical idea, you know. I mean, I'm very pro-religion. I think religion does a lot of good in a lot of people's lives. But I personally don't participate in it myself. So it's not valuable for me, but I see the value for other people. The co-op stuff, I mean, you have an idea that doesn't do anything for people's lives, but it makes you a lot of money on the internet. So I'm not sure how that's a valuable thing.
I think it's more
Okay. Destiny, the Vosh clip.
See, this is all Destiny does all day long. People send him clips and he watches them. This is like the best. This is the best job ever. Hanging out all day.
got canceled.
Oh, this was 2 days ago.
What do you think about Destiny debating Richard Wolff on Wednesday? I'm good, right? I don't agree with Richard Wolff on everything, but I agree with him on a lot. It's nice to see those ideas tested. You should only ever be happy when stuff like that happens. If nothing else, it gives you an opportunity or an avenue to see your ideas challenged. And if you disagree with those challenges, then okay, there you go.
I hate. That's another thing. Like when they speed up the video in the stream, it just makes listening at 2 times speed impossible, which totally sucks. I guess they really just don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about their audience.
Positions you had before.
Oh no.
What don't you agree with Richard Wolff? Richard Wolff, in his famous lecture on what socialism is, said that the socialism is when the government does more things. And I disagree. I actually think socialism is collective ownership means production, but you know.
Socialism is Vosh believes socialism is the workers taking the means of production. Yeah, the abolition of private property. The fucking stupidest idea in the world. Yeah. That's a completely moronic idea. I mean, it's difficult to think of a more moronic idea than abolishing property rights. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Wormy got a haircut. Wormy's like got his summer haircut now.
You all know what I'm talking about. Can you explain why socialism is better than social democracy? Yeah, I can.
Why is socialism better than social democracy? Let's hear.
Not horror.
Oh, wait. Destiny cut him off. He doesn't even tell us.
Not 100% inconsistent.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe.
Okay, that's it. That's all. Let me make sure I got all of your super chats. I don't want to miss. I missed, like I said, some super chats last time, and I found a new link, so it means I can find the super chats faster. Let's see here. Make sure I got them all. Oh wait, no, they're not. Now they're not showing up. What? This is crazy. Well, hopefully I got them all. Daniel the Bruce. Oh, now I'm doing the silent thing. Let me know in the chat if I missed any of your super chats, so I can. Now people are going to totally mess with me. They're going to be like, "You missed my super chat," when I really didn't. Or maybe I need to reload the page or something. Learn more. Here we go. No, that's wrong. I don't want to learn more. I just want to see the super chats. Okay, I think Lord of the Nerds was last super chat. Yeah, okay, good. I think I did get them all. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was great. You guys can go watch the Jack Show now. I streamed for a couple hours. We're going to stream on Sunday. Probably going to cover this on Sunday. You'll get to hear Sitch's hot takes and my hot takes at the same time. I got plenty more to say about this because the debate, oh God, the human nature in the debate Richard Wolff looked like a fucking clown. Hopefully his reign of terror on college campuses everywhere is coming to an end shortly. That'll be great. So I'll go ahead and tune out. I'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for the super chats. Always, you guys are way too generous to me. And I'll see you next Thursday. I'll try to be here actually on time. I was a little late because I had another thing going. But Thursday streams, Thursday live. Take care, everyone.